Tier 1. Your balance shows red. $3 under from a subscription charge you'd completely forgotten was still running. The bank turns that $3 slip into a $34 penalty without blinking. Before you can even absorb that, a $6 charge hits while you're still underwater, and the bank fines you another $34 for the privilege. $74 owed now, over what started as pocket change. You call. You sit through looping hold music. Someone reads you a script explaining fees are final. They promise a callback in 48 hours that quietly never happens. The next morning, your rent bounces and adds a $70 penalty. Your phone bill fails too, tacking on 22 more. A $3 oversight has metastasized into almost $200 in under a day. Friday, standing at the counter, you watch the teller's expression shift into something clinical. Somewhere in the last 48 hours, you stopped registering as a person to this institution and started registering as a liability. Tier 2, $190. You worked 18 extra hours just to climb back to positive. Nobody applauds that. The bank, meanwhile, quietly siphons off an $11 maintenance charge because your balance sits under their $1,400 threshold. You look into a credit card and they'll only offer you a secured one, meaning you hand over $275 of your own cash as collateral so they can lend it back to you at 23% interest. You walk away from that deal, which means when a tire blows out on your commute, there's no card to fall back on, just a slow bus ride that gets you to work 3 hours late. At the branch, you watch the teller warmly chat up the customer ahead of you about their weekend, then flip instantly professional and brisk the second it's your turn. 40 seconds, transaction done, no small talk offered. Nothing was denied to you. You simply weren't worth the extra 10 seconds of warmth. Tier 3, $1,900. 6 straight months of a reliable paycheck landing every other week, around $1,550 net, and that consistency is apparently the only data point the system actually cares about. The maintenance fee that's been bleeding you for years quietly stops. Real credit offers start showing up. Unsecured now, $1,900 limits at 21% interest. You apply and hear back in 90 seconds flat, approved, from the exact same institution that couldn't be bothered with you 2 tiers ago. A car repair loan for $4,800 clears in 2 days at 10.5%. The teller greets you before you've even reached the counter this time. Not friendship, just acknowledgement that you now register on their radar. You've gone from ignored to useful. Tier 4, $14,000. Your credit ceiling more than doubles overnight from $3,800 to $9,000, and nobody asked your permission first. A human being calls you, unprompted, introduces herself as your dedicated banker, wants to know your goals and timeline. Your loan rate drops from 10.5% to 6.5%, not through negotiation, just because your risk profile quietly reclassified itself. A $30 fee appears and vanishes within 3 hours after one email to your new contact, no paperwork required. All those charges that used to be locked in stone are suddenly negotiable. Nothing about the rules changed, only your standing did. Tier 5, $75,000. The label preferred starts appearing on your statements like it was always meant for you. Your assigned banker, a man named David, actually remembers details like the sister you mentioned living in Denver 9 months back and emails you on your birthday without being told to. Walk into any branch and someone in an office, not behind a counter, stands to shake your hand and walks you past the line everyone else stands in, the same line you never noticed you'd graduated out of. A mortgage pre-approval letter for $380,000 shows up before you've even picked a house. When a rival bank tries to poach you with a better rate, you mention it offhand to David, and he counters within the hour. You're no longer merely tolerated. You're being actively fought over. Tier 6, $500,000. The bank stops waiting for you to walk in and starts showing up instead. David switches from email to phone calls, and this time, it's to set up a meeting with someone from wealth management who drives out to meet you in person, carrying bound reports, spending 90 unhurried minutes discussing your long-term goals, your tax situation, your legacy plans, without ever once pitching a product, because the pitch already landed somewhere you didn't clock it. A stalled wire transfer gets resolved the moment someone picks up. Same call, no transfers, no waiting. You're invited to a private dinner for a handful of clients where money is never actually discussed out loud, because at this point, it's simply the room you're standing in. Tier 7, $4.5 million. Wealth management upgrades into private banking, which functions less like a service and more like an alliance. Your dedicated contact oversees fewer than 15 relationships total, yours being one, and he can rattle off your kids' names and remembers the charitable foundation you casually floated last spring over coffee. Mortgage terms aren't quoted from a rate sheet anymore, they're worked out in conversation. Paperwork that would take an average customer 2 full weeks gets resolved in 2 days flat once someone recognizes the name on the file. You end up in a windowless conference room discussing an investment opportunity that will never show up in any public filing. A room that exists purely because your relationship with the bank justified building it. Tier 8, $22 million. There's no banker anymore, just a relationship. And that distinction actually matters inside the walls of this institution because someone's career depends on keeping you happy. The bank isn't trying to win your loyalty anymore. It's structured itself around never risking losing it. Deals get custom drafted specifically around you rather than pulled from any standard offering. Opportunities land on your desk before the public ever hears about them. The chief investment officer wants your read on emerging markets. The same bank that once fined you $34 for being $3 short is now asking what its wealthiest future clients should expect from it. Somewhere tonight, another person is staring at a red balance. $3 short, a forgotten charge, a $34 fee already landed. They're dialing the number, sitting through the same looping hold music, hearing the same script about fees being final. They have no idea yet that nothing here is malfunctioning. It's running precisely as designed. The very same institution that will one day charter a meeting to ask somebody's opinion on global markets is, at this exact moment, squeezing someone else for the crime of coming up $3 short. You're the identical human being no matter what your balance reads. The bank simply decides which version of you it's willing to see.